The next movie we're reviewing, what is it, Uncle Will?
It's one of my all-time favorite and little-known slasher films, and it is Intruder.
Intruder, intruder, please kill you.
Is that Saxon?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember how I first went about watching this film, but we actually did like a screening of it at a Whorehound Weekend in 2000. When was it? 2010? And Slippy did like a commentary over top of what we were doing, and it was amazing. And it made me remember how much I really do like this film. But it's made by Scott Spiegel, who's the director. It's got a lot of the people that would end up being in the Evil Dead films in it. Ted Raimi's in it. Sam Raimi's in it. Bruce Campbell's briefly in it. Danny Hicks, who's been in Evil Dead 2 and a lot of other films like that. Danny Hicks plays...
Renee Estevez is actually in it, who's in the Sleepaway Camp too.
Right. And Danny Hicks is the head of this grocery store that's getting ready to go out of business. And I guess that the underlying side story to all this is the main cashier at the grocery store has this crazy boyfriend who's stalking her throughout the film. And like, as they're getting ready to shut down this grocery store and all the inventory is going to be sold and all the people are going to lose their jobs, this guy starts coming around the grocery store who's this cashier's boyfriend, and all these people that are in the grocery store start to wind up dead in a variety of different ways. And I guess that they were trying
They're going to end up dead.
They try to hint at the fact that it's this crazy boyfriend, even though you know, like from the beginning, that it's not, because it's just way too
obvious that they're trying to.
But that's really the plot of the movie, meaning that there's not a whole lot else to it. It's mostly just a setup for all these kids to die in these really unique ways. And this was done by K&B, and I think this was the first film they actually used the K&B title. And
I think this director's cut, is the first time you're ever really going to get to see a lot of their effects work that was in this movie. Because, I mean, we thought the movie was gory before. But fuck no. I mean, they cut so much shit that I think Full Moon or somebody released.
It was Empire Pictures.
They released the original DVD of it. And my God, man, it is so butchered. Like, I never realized before how much shit was taken out of because, okay, I think it's a total of like 5 or 6 minutes of actual footage that was cut out of this. Stuff that actually improved the story quite a bit, dude.
Yeah, it's like I was telling you when I watched it, I was like, it's like an entirely different movie. Like, if this was the version that actually would have been put out by companies, this movie would have probably been a lot more well-known.
It may very well be the first time the movie's ever... I think it is. Because I don't know what kind of run it got theatrically.
To me, this movie is as good, if not better, than all those films that get praised, like My Bloody Valentine or The Burning or things like that. Like,
right.
In the form that it's in right here, I think it's as good, if not better, than all those films, because this has got everything like added into it that makes it, like you said, a coherent film that it wasn't before. It was just a bunch of shit.
Well, I mean, this sort of thing is what Blu-ray and DVD. And for some reason, something changed along the way, where there's not a whole lot of stuff like this out. There's just not. There's not original cuts. You just don't see it anymore. Where, like, you'll see uncut versions of movies, but there's like 10 seconds added back in, and you can't even tell.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Intruder, if you've seen Intruder for last 20 years or whatever, I guarantee you're going to notice a drastic change when you put in this new version.
Well, it's like when they did My Bloody Valentine, and they put all the stuff back into it and the DVD that they'd cut out and had never been shown before too. It made that movie a lot better in my mind too, but this one probably even more so, because there's shit in this movie that I'm pretty sure it doesn't really have anything to do with gore, but they just added it back in that I don't think was in the cut that I'd seen before.
Yeah, extra scenes with the two guys that own the store, and it actually gives you more of a motivation for the killer, I guess. And a lot of the characters that you never really get to know them in the original DVD. And this time there's a lot more lines of dialogue and stuff like that. And there is additional gore sequences that you didn't have before that are fucking killer.
Oh, yeah. And there's one scene in particular that I'm almost positive wasn't in the other version that I saw. Just completely not in the other version. Not even like extended, which is the scene where there's a body that's chopped up into like 10 different pieces and it's on this conveyor belt, and then the conveyor belt starts when this girl walks in, and then she all the pieces like go up it and like shift around and stuff like that, like the head and everything. I know that wasn't in the film.
Yeah, and like they cut, like it seems like there's extra, or at least to me. I mean, I'm not a huge. I've seen Intruder probably 4 or 5 different times before this, but like where there's stabbings and stuff or whatever else, the blood that squirts out. Like,
oh yeah, they cut all that all to pieces.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even sure if they showed the entire scene where I think it's Ted Raimi that gets killed, where the guy comes up behind him and like chops him down in the head with a butcher knife or something like that.
The scene with the saw too, they cut that up.
Oh, well, they cut the hell out of that. That was the one they cut the most. Probably.
Yeah, I mean that's fucking awesome. I mean that still to this day, even in Blu-ray, looks good.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Which brings us back to K&B, which if people don't know, K&B is Kurtzman, Nicotero, and Berger, which is like a special effects group that does The Walking Dead and stuff now, and had done a lot of this stuff back then. But this is the movie where they basically did it for nothing just so they could get their company off the ground.
Yeah, they basically had. I think they did a couple things before this, but never together. This is their first movie together.
And if you go and watch the special features, you find out a lot about that too. How nobody would give them a chance because they had never done anything under that name, under K&B or anything like that. So they had to find a film like this to do that with, so they could get their name out there and get established, and so people would actually start hiring them. Like this was basically like their effects reel, demo reel that they would use to try to get into other films.
It's I think it's one of Synapse's best releases, just because it seems like those guys were a big fan of this movie as well, and they wanted to do it justice. I would have never thought, just seeing the old Full Moon or Wizard DVD or whatever it was, that this would even be considered for Blu-ray, let alone it looks fucking awesome. Like I don't know, Don May just he's like a fucking magician or something when it comes to like,
he's a bloody magician.
Yeah, when it comes to remastering stuff, because it looks unreal on Blu-ray. Intruder does, and it's a low budget movie. I mean, I know it was like shot 35mm or whatever, but god damn.
Well, this is a 2K digital restoration of the original uncensored director's cut. It says so right here on the back.
It's 2K.
So it's bound. It's bound to look off the chain. This is. I mean, we pretty much already put it over about as much as you possibly can, but you should definitely buy this if you haven't already gotten it. Even if you're a fan of slasher films at all, then you should know about this.
And actually, on Synapse website, I think they still have some more of these left, where if you actually want to buy, they'll give you the uncut, which actually had scenes in it that they couldn't use.
Right.
The VHS copy on a DVD-R, they're only doing like 500 copies of it, so you can still get that. I think it's like $30 or something. Yeah, with the Blu-ray, so it's like it's a 500.
That thing will be worth a fortune eventually, because once they.
I'm actually thinking about buying a couple of them just to.
You probably should. You make money off of them, but let's talk about special features on here. You've got an audio commentary with the writer-director Scott Spiegel and producer Lawrence Bender. Slashed prices, the making of Intruder with an all-new featurette, which was actually really, really good because Felcher did it, and it was like... Yeah.
Felcher is off the chain.
Really comprehensive.
Even though he doesn't respond to me a lot on Facebook, but
he doesn't respond to anybody on Facebook. Or at least not to me either. Extended murder sequences from the original work print. Outtakes from the now lost short film called Night Crew, which was a pretty cool one that Sam Raimi actually tried to direct. It was the film that they tried to direct, I think, before they even did Evil Dead. And you'll find out about that on here in the feature.
Wonder whatever happened to Within the Woods.
Can't believe
Sam Raimi's like, no, fuck you. I ain't releasing that shit. Ain't my ass.
Original cast audition footage, behind-the-scenes gallery, original trailer, and more. So you go over to synapse-films.com and buy this shit, or you can go on Amazon or any place like that and get it.
Yeah, I don't know if we could have put it over any more, But, you know, if you know somebody out there that's a fan of slasher movies, they may have never seen this, okay? Intruder is the way a slasher movie should be made, okay? It shouldn't go to any other level. You know, it should just be your primitive, come up with the generic shit. They're in a fucking grocery store. People fucking killing.
I wish that we could really get into my favorite part about this film, but in order to get into that part, we'd have to give away the whole film.
I'm just crazy about this store. Just say that.
That's the best fucking, like, that was just perfectly done in, like, a really campy way in that film.
Yeah. Maybe we should get him on the show.
He would be interesting, because he's done a lot of different stuff.
That would be a good one. I know we could get him on the show.
So let's do that.
Yeah, we'll do that. So, yeah, that's Intruder on Blu-ray Disc. That's Blu-ray Disc, baby. Woo!
Holla.
Actually, isn't he like $5? He's one of those guys that charges like $5.
Yeah, he didn't charge me anything, but he was charging like $5 for everybody.
Yeah. So get your stuff signed by him at conventions. He's a nice guy.
He seemed like completely amazed that anybody gave a shit about him in any of these movies.
He's like, really? You know who I am? I'm just crazy about these fans.
And I guarantee that's one guy that will probably never do another convention either, because they just brought him in to do that.
I think he's doing the other Whorehound, though, the one in Columbus.
Really?
I think he is.
What the fuck? I would have never thought that, really.
So, anyway.
He's going to ride the convention teat and suck on that drive.
Yeah. So,
everybody gets caught up in the convention teat.
That is true. Everybody wants to be loved.
I want you to love me and then give me your money.
So, anyway, that is it for the show, folks. This is going to be a rather long one for what we were actually doing. But I hope everybody enjoyed it, and get all your Christmas shopping done. Be sure to buy myself and Uncle Bill presents.